Stay tuned and let's check out this Marvel 85th anniversary Marvel Legends Hulkbuster. Pow and welcome back to the channel, Dan Who Reviews. As always, my name is Dan W. Make sure you are following me on Instagram at It's Dan Who. And remember now you can hit that join button and become a channel member as well. Either show some love or join the members club. Much appreciated. Today we continue celebrating 85 years of Marvel. As in front of me today we have quite possibly one of my most anticipated Marvel Legends of the summer. It is of course the Deluxe Hulkbuster. Now you know me, I'm a big Iron Man fan and I always appreciate adding new armours to our forever growing comic Hall of Armour. But did you know this is Hasbro's first attempt at the Hulkbuster armour, as the last time we technically got a Marvel Legends version of the Hulkbuster was nearly 20 years ago during the Toy Biz era in the legendary Riders wave in 2005. So it is a welcomed update to this more modern take on the Hulkbuster armour. I will show you the reference, but it looks great in the packaging. You even get the unmasked Tony Stark head that goes under the dome. They've had to remove the chest and the back piece just so it fits in the box. You get some vents, some interchangeable hands. It should pose up really nicely as well. It looks great in this celebrating 85 years packaging. Really smart. Hulkbuster on the side. You get that celebrating Marvel 85 on the top, comic image on the side, that same image on the back of the box, and then you get a write-up that reads, a specialised suit designed by Tony Stark, the Hulkbuster armour allows him to stand toe-to-toe with the Hulk when needed. Now, I've seen some criticism online saying that this Hulkbuster doesn't actually fight the Hulk, which may be true, but it is still a canon Hulkbuster armour, as this picture is where the reference for the character design is from, and that is also from 2005, the Invincible Iron Man, where a couple of the armours went rogue, and this Hulkbuster armour was attacking the Avengers. I think Tony Stark had to sacrifice himself to stop it. So it is still technically a Hulkbuster armour, undoubtedly, and is worthy for our display. So I, for one, am excited to get this open. So let's waste no time and do exactly that. Here we have Hulkbuster out of the packaging with all those parts and pieces laid out on the table. This thing is impressive. It has sculpted detail and paint in places you're not even going to see when it's all pieced together. So before we do that, I do want to just get the tape measure out to get a sense of scale. Now, of course, we have had MCU versions of the Hulkbuster from Hasbro. We've got a Marvel Select version of the Hulkbuster, but this is our first Hasbro comic version, and you can see he stands just under 9.5 inches tall, which I think will be fine when you start comparing it to some comic Iron Man armors, which we will of course do. And I do want to plug the chest piece in, but before I do that and complete the look, I just want to show you those additional details. Zooming in, it gives you a better look at that candy chrome red and gold for Iron Man, which works really nice. My hot studio lights are sort of glaring off it at the minute, as I wanted to zoom in and show you those additional sculpted details on the chest around the arc reactor. There's even some sort of gunmetal grey paint on there as well, which you won't even see when you plug on the chest piece. So it's like some mechanical sculpted parts that a wash would bring out a lot more as well. But again, you're not even going to see it when you plug on the chest piece. Again, on the back as well, you can sort of see that mechanical spine and some vents and some other gears and bolts. Again, really nice additional sculpted detail on there. But once you plug on the chest piece, you're not even going to be able to see it. It's the same on the head sculpt as well. Like, you can see mechanical elements there, which you don't even see, and under the helmet, which again you won't even see. So lots of sculpted detail hidden throughout this figure. But I wanted to plug on the chest piece, so let me zoom out for a second. So the chest piece, very simple. The triangle goes on top of the triangle. There's even like a hollowed part, so it should plug in there very nicely, no problems, like so. And then that part goes around and should clip on easily. There you go, you heard it clip, it's plugged on. Now on the back, let's plug in those vent pieces. So they plug in one there, and then the other one plugs in over here, like so. So now we get those vents sticking out the back, which completes a nice silhouette. You can sort of see them sticking out the back there of our Hulkbuster armour. Let's zoom out, and there we have it, our complete Hulkbuster look with the chest piece plugged in. You got the vents sticking out the back. It cuts a very nice silhouette. I do really like this sort of modern updated design. Remember, like I mentioned at the start, the reference is directly taken from the 2000s, in particularly the Invincible Iron Man issue 12, where this exact design is on the front cover. Now, if you start flicking through those comic book pages, the Hulkbuster armor does look a little bit different, but it is still a canon Hulkbuster armor for our displays. We create the rules. I'll get it fighting a Hulk, no doubts about it. But yeah, this thing looks great. Let's continue looking. So of course we get the trademark dome helmet with the gold faceplate, whited out eyes, and then some additional details on the side. Now of course you get your swivel. It is on a ball joint, and there is also some neck articulation, but it just fits seamlessly within that gap there. So really, really nice. It will have a little bit of wiggle room. You can see it wiggling a bit there. But yeah, because of the design, obviously limited articulation on the head, which is absolutely fine because they give us an alternative. So let me pop that off. And again, you can see there additional mechanical details. I'm going to plug in the Tony Stark head. So you can see here, there's neck articulation and then a ball joint on top of that as well. So more articulation than you think. So plug that on, and I really like that they gave this additional Tony Stark head. Now I think during this particular run, Tony Stark is blonde, but I'm glad they didn't give us a blonde Tony Stark, as that is not my mind's eye, and I really like what we get here. I like the additional metal details around the sort of neck, that sort of extra cushion for when he is fighting the Hulk, of course. Really nice, like the quiff in the hair, the digital face printing tech as always. And again, I like the proportions here. He's a regular sized man in a Hulkbuster armor, so it should look out of proportion. That is intentional, looks really good. And again, you can see those details on the inside. Lots of wiggle room here. Again, swivel all the way around, bit of tilt there as well. And I get a little bit of forward and back, but again, it's restricted on purpose. It's a man in a big chunky Hall of Armor, but I do like that additional look. Another character trait of that original comic Hulkbuster armor was those big, bulky, round shoulders. Now this design is a little bit more modernized, a little bit more streamlined, but they do pay tribute to that with these round shoulders. Here you've got this sort of honeycomb effect piece, which is sculpted to touch, really nicely textured, and it's on this separate sort of shoulder piece on this candy chrome red, which is attached to the top of the shoulder like so it doesn't hinder any of the articulation. If I zoom out, I'll show you what I mean. The arm will literally still go to 90, no problem at all, and then that shoulder piece will just move with the arm. Like really, really nicely done. You've got the single jointed elbows in the arm as well, which you would expect for a bigger figure, but you've still got some really nice detail with that gold plate in there. You've got some sort of mechanical parts done in that gunmetal grey that stand out against the candy chrome red. Again, like some hydraulics there on the back of the arm. On the back, you've got some sort of engine piece, a little bit of silver in there as well, some more bolts. Same on that arm. Moving down to the legs, at the back of the shins, you've got more hydraulics. Really nicely done. I'll spin it around to the front. On the shins, you've got all those little holes, which are all painted silver behind. And then you've got the gold knees. And then really nice additional detail here on the thighs. So if I zoom in on the thighs, you can see all that additional sculpted detail on both sides. And there is a thigh swivel as well. So it's really nicely like revealed. Really nice. And because it's the gold and red, all the gunmetal grey elements do stand out really well. Like even the chest piece now is covering that additional sculpted detail. But under the arm, you can see more sculpted detail. Like really, really good here. Discovering something new everywhere. And again, you've got the sort of triangle piece for the art reactor with some nice texture to it. But yeah, we know there's sculpted detail under that. It's a really, really well done figure with lots of additional detail. Let's check out the articulation. So first things first, I like the neutral pose, because if you're going to add this to a Hall of Armor, he's obviously going to be shut down. He's not going to be turned on. So you want him to sort of just stand neutral really nicely, and he can do that. The arms do go nicely flush to the side. Now I've already showed you the shoulders. That shoulder piece moves up, so you can get the arms all the way up, single jointed elbows, and the shoulders will go around as well. Hinge in the hands side to side. Now the chest is really interesting because you do have the cut there, the waist, for the waist swivel, like so, but there's also a swivel up here at the diaphragm because there's a ball joint. So you get swivel there, you can hear it clicking, and you get swivel at the waist. So extra swivel, and then there's nice crunch forward and back, like for a big figure. So like that's it going back, and then that's it going forward. So hopefully you can see that on camera, but there is some decent range there for some posing, which is really nice. And again, just sort of swivel it all back into position. Lots of articulation. But look at this, a karate kicking Hulkbuster armor. Like, look at that. Like, that is impressive, right? So you got the swivel at the thigh, as we know. The legs will go up 290. Double jointed knees as well, like that is really good. Underneath on the boots you've got the actual holes to plug in some effect pieces. Ankle pivot and rocker. As you can see, this soft piece of plastic is not hindering the articulation for the ankle pivot, so that's really nice. So yeah, you're going to be able to get this guy in some crazy poses, undoubtedly, because of the great range he has. Like, so good. So let's check out those interchangeable hands. As you've seen out of the packaging, he comes with open palm gripping hands so we can hold things. They also have a side-to-side hinging as well, but we do get a set up. Fisted hands, because of course this is the Hulkbuster. You want him to punch the Hulk, or in this design's case, the Avengers at least. But yeah, honestly people, this is so good. I'm discovering more like details every time I pose it. Like you can see these wires coming out of the shoulder there, done in the gunmetal grey, more gold here on the arm, nice sculpted hands as well. This thing is impressive. Moving into comparisons, and the first one had to be the other Hasbro Hulkbuster, which is of course our MCU live action Hulkbuster, now compared to our new comic Hulkbuster. Both solid representations from their source material into plastic. Honestly, both of them are great and worthy of their place in the collection. Basically the same height as well. If I get a tape measure out, you can pause it and see for yourself. Both just under 9.5 inches, depending on how you pose them with the heads and the sort of chest pieces. But yeah, basically the same height. Honestly, both really nice. For anyone curious, that is the second Build-A-Figure version from the Best of Avengers wave. It did get released again in that 2-pack with Hulk. But yeah, this is really nice. Next up, of course, we needed to see what the Hulk Bruce Banner looked like compared to the Hulkbuster, and he's a little bit shorter, which is comic accurate. He was always just a little bit shorter than the Hulkbuster, and it looks very nice. This is the version that came in the 2-pack with Wolverine, but that same Hulk body has been reused many times in the Marvel Legends line, so that gives you a good sense of scale of this Hulkbuster compared to any of your Hulks in your modern Marvel collection. But yeah, those two look great together. They face off really nicely as well. Yeah, honestly, great display potential. Something a little bit different, as I've tried to recreate the front cover from Iron Man issue 12, where we have the Hulkbuster armor going up against the Marvel Legends Mark 20 that we have just gotten in the Iron Man retro wave. So perfect timing, because that is the Iron Man armor he is wearing going up against all these rogue armors. That's why Iron Man is up against the Hulkbuster, as his armors have went rogue. His subconscious is controlling them. But I really like how we can recreate that cover in plastic. That's what collecting's all about, when you can accurately recreate those scenes and moments from the source material into plastic, into your display, to live in the 3 dimension. Honestly, beautiful stuff. Now we have the Mark 20 side by side with the Hulkbuster, and I've also threw in the Extremis armor as well. I think the scale works really well here in regards to how tall the Hulkbuster is to a regular Marvel Legends Iron Man, and these are more recent modern armors that work really well for a display. I just want some sort of official way to display a Marvel Legends Hall of Armor, some sort of modular pieces. That'd be great. Now we have so many Iron Men in our collection, some of them have to be Tony Stark in the display, considering we haven't got a sort of base body yet for Tony Stark in the Marvel Legends line. So here we have the all new, all different Invincible Iron Man over here, and then the more classic anniversary version here in the gold with the classic Tony Stark head on. So yeah, looks really good, but this one also came with a Tony Stark head. Let's put that on there. There you go, and I really do like that head and proportions in that big chunky Iron Man armor. We definitely need a regular Tony Stark though to be the centerpiece of a Hall of Armor display, and that way we can have all our Iron Mans on the shelf with the helmets on. But let's try that unmasked head on a regular body. The answer is sort of on some of the figures. Now we've got so many Iron Man armors, I'd be here all day just doing head swaps, so you'll have to try it yourself. But it works okay on this version. If I zoom out a little bit, you can see proportionately the head size works, but because he has the big chunky pieces around the neck, it sort of gives him no neck, which is sort of the issue on a lot of the armors. But it sort of does work-ish if you wanted to. I do like that Tony Stark head. It would have been nice to get the option without all the mechanical pieces around, just as an extra accessory. But there you go, we have our options, but we still need a regular Marvel Legends Tony Stark. Please, thank you. And in case you were wondering, yes, some of the older heads will pop onto the ball peg on this Hulkbuster armor, so you can play around with that. not a problem at all. And here we have a selection of different red and gold and yellow Iron Man armors in the Marvel Legends line. This isn't all of them. I've literally just went round my display and plucked off the different figures. Now it is an absolute mess. You are welcome. But I just wanted to see how it looked with the Hulkbuster, a comic version of the Hulkbuster, front and center. I definitely need to create some sort of comic Hall of Armor in the display now. We just need Hasbro to give us some sort of official way to do that. As I said, some sort of modular pods that we could buy and build out as much as we wanted to. And we need a Tony Stark as well. There is still so much potential for Iron Man in the Marvel Legends line, but we already have so much as well. But it is such a fun setup. So yeah, Hulkbuster is going to fit right in. People are going to like this one. I keep finding more Iron Man armors in the collection, so I didn't want to forget about this one as it is a fan favorite. It is, of course, the modular Iron Man armor, and the color scheme matches quite well with the Hulkbuster. And quick reminder that there are ports at the bottom of the feet, as I mentioned, and any of the old Iron Man effect pieces will just plug in there, no problem. I did try the ones that come with the Hydra Stomper as they're a little bit thicker and bigger, but the ports do not fit, unfortunately. So any of the regular Iron Man pieces, there are 2 in each foot, so you could put 4 in there for some double blasts. There are no ports on the hands or ports on the back of the figure. So yeah, just the feet, but it does help if you want to get him in a flying pose. And as I mentioned, this Hulkbuster armor did go up against the Avengers. So here we have a couple of versions of Captain America. We have the Marvel Legends 20th anniversary and then the Ultimate Cap. Not really Iron Man related characters, but I wanted to give you a sense of scale within the overall Marvel Legends line, because let's be honest, Rhino and Venom are not exactly small characters, and they are tiny in comparison to this Hulkbuster armor. I could even swap out that version of Venom for the Monster Venom, and you can see even he's small compared to this Hulkbuster armor. So yes, it's impressive. Some different sized Marvel Legend females again for scale. We have the new She-Hulk that came in the Iron Man Retro wave. We have Power Princess, and then is that the brand new Marvel Legends Warbird? Why, yes it is. Go and check out my full review on the channel right now. She's beautiful. Little bonus comparison as we have the Superior Spider-Man also in this 85th lineup. Go and check out my full review on the channel. Honestly, the figures I've reviewed so far are so good. But I also wanted to show you that you could actually get this Hulkbuster in a superhero landing pose. This is a 9-inch Marvel Legend Chunky Deluxe. It is not something that you can usually get in such a cool pose, but yes, this will literally get in a superhero landing pose with his fist on the ground, knee on the ground. So cool that we can do this with a deluxe chunky figure. Now, to be honest, I don't think Tony needs to bust out the Hulkbuster armor to take on any of these guys, but here we have a spattering of Marvel Legend Iron Man centric villains you could put up against him. We've got Grey Gargoyle, Whiplash, Blizzard, Whirlwind and Living Laser. And since it is July, it's only right we bring in Deadpool and Wolverine. Now, I could be here all day with comparisons, so instead let's just wrap up with some of the Who crew. So we have Frogman, Tigra, and unfortunately the Hulkbuster is standing on broken Jocasta. And of course, last but never least, here we have Captain Britain and Hal Fire Hank. So, final thoughts on this Marvel Legends celebrating 85 years of Marvel Summer Program Hulkbuster. Honestly, this is really impressive. Now, I'm a little bit biased, as in the Dan Who Reviews logo, there is an Iron Man, as he is one of my favourite characters. I love adding new armours to our display, and we have been waiting for a Marvel Legends Hasbro comic Hall of Armor, and it is finally here, and it did not disappoint. Now, I know a few people out there might have preferred the more classic look, but I do like this more modern design and think it fits in beautifully with the Marvel Legends we've recently been getting. It's going to be the centerpiece of an Iron Man display on the shelf, that's for sure. It moves a hell of a lot better than it deserves to with that big, chunky, clunky design. I think people are going to really like the way you can pose this up. A lot more dynamic than it seems in the packaging. You get the Tony Stark head as well, a couple of interchangeable hands. This is a solid offering and may be potentially up there at the end of the year with best Legends of the year, at least for me, speaking for myself, of course. You can let me know what you think and your anticipation levels in the comments below. But if you like Marvel Legends, then wow, you are in the right place. Check out the videos tab, find the playlists, but most importantly, please hit that subscribe button, hit all on the notification bell, don't miss out on a video, and please hit that join button, become a channel member, either show some love or join the members club. Much appreciated. Don't be shy, come and join me on a live stream, support the channel, be on the channel. It's as simple as that. You can follow me on Instagram at It's Dan Who. I'm on Twitter or X at Dan Who Reviews. I'm going to continue reviewing these 85th anniversary figures, so make sure you stick around on the channel, because my name's Dan W, and I will of course see you on the next one.